Hey, welcome back. It's your man Wise, and today I have a great video to share with you guys. Today we're going to check out another video from TYT, the Young Turks. Anna Kasparian, she's been going off here of late. I won't say she has completely taken the red pill, but she's taken at least a quarter of it, and it sounds like she is getting sick and tired of her party. The left has gone entirely too far. This video, she is going off on Governor Kathy Hochul and New York's policies. This no bail policy they got going on up in New York, it is a mess. And honestly, I would be afraid to live in New York. You don't know who's walking around. Dudes are committing crimes and getting out the same day. They're committing just real atrocities and are walking free. You don't know who's friend or foe, who's good or bad. New York is a mess. Before we get into the video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. And before we get started, we must have a word from our sponsor, Child Light Candles. Child Light Candles is a veteran-owned organization. Please support Child Light Candles today. Now, when you go to the website, you're going to see these candles. They have a plethora of fragrances. Choose any of them. They're all great. They're 16-ounce candles. Every last candle you see is a 16-ounce candle. So you don't have to worry about asking, hey, what's the size of the candles? They're pretty large. They're 100% organic, both the wax and the wick, 100% organic. These are strong candles. I'm just warning you, if you have a one-level home, your entire level is going to smell like whatever the fragrance that you lit up that day. All right? Support Child Light Candles, fragrances lit for the kingdom. Now let's get into the video.
Body parts were found all over Long Island. They had 4 suspects. They let them go. Right. And now they're out there still. So what is the deal here? Right. It sounds insane to me.
Sounds insane to me too. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was grilled about crime during her appearance on The View, and I loved seeing it, especially when she was asked to defend her intensely stupid idea of deploying hundreds of National Guard troops into the subway system to keep people safe. Now, Hochul announced that she would be deploying 750 members of the National Guard and 250 state troopers and police officers in order to basically do random bag checks of people riding the subway. It's unsustainable, it's expensive, and it did nothing to keep New Yorkers safe. In fact, there was a shooting in the subway system just last week after she had already deployed the National Guard troops. Now, with that in mind, Behar weighs in with an interesting point that we'll get back to in just a second, mostly about certain tweaks that need to be made on the criminal justice reform that's been passed in New York, but more importantly, what those flaws have led to. So with that in mind, let's watch some more of their conversation.
You deployed hundreds of state police and National Guard troops into the subway system. But since the pandemic, you have done a wonderful job. Overall crime is down in the city. Yes, it is. So my question to you is, why now? Why deploy to the subway? And how do you respond to some of your fellow Democrats calling the move theatrics that play into Republican narratives that blue cities are poorly run war zones?
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. My job is to keep people safe. I have to keep any way I can. I'm going to keep New Yorkers safe, and I'll tell you who does show appreciation for the people out there on the streets. I've been walking the streets. I walk into business. People are just saying, thank you for taking such strong action. Now, the subways have been safer, but we had a spike recently.
Yes.
A 45% increase in subway crimes. Now, these are high-profile crimes.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Yeah. Because the CEO of the MTA says that 1% of subway suspects are responsible for more than 20% of the crime because of New York's bail reform laws, which allows them to go back out there and commit more crimes.
I would assume that that is a lot of the issue that they have in New York right now. Yes, crime is down, but when you have 1% of the population committing the crime and yet they're getting slaps on the wrist or they're just letting these guys free on their own recognizance, it makes absolutely no sense. You know what's going to happen. Criminals do criminal things. So these policies are flat out ridiculous. they are irresponsible and they are unsafe for the regular citizens in New York, and especially in New York City, in a place where the gun laws are some of the most restrictive gun laws in the nation. So the people don't have the ability to really protect themselves by owning a firearm, but you got just crazy people that are being let go on their own recognizance. Just they're doing these, what do they call them? Signature binds, and they're out on the streets within 3 to 4 hours. There was a situation out in Long Island where these people were arrested for a unaliving of an individual, where they chopped said individual up into pieces and dispersed their bodies in different, or limbs in different places around the city. And these people have been charged with this crime, but yet they were out on a signature bind because the judge said that for whatever reason, what they were charged with did not go up under the law to where they could be held either with an actual cash bond of some sort or held with no bond. This is insane. New York when they say Gotham City, it is truly Gotham City. This is what you see in the Batman movies. What's happening up there? My guy, Vince Everett Ellison, said, wherever they rule, it's death and destruction. Wherever they rule. And this is what it is.
Joy Behar is 1,000% right. And rather than tweaking the bail reform in order to do something about a tiny group of people that's causing all this chaos on the subway system, Kathy Hochul has decided to instead basically use up all these resources to do something that's ineffective and makes people uncomfortable, which was the deployment of National Guard troops. And just to give you some more information on what Behar was referencing there, MTA CEO Jono Lieber said 38 people were arrested for crimes against transit employees last year, and those suspects had over 600 prior arrests. Citing NYPD data, Lieber said 1% of subway suspects were responsible for well over 20% of the crime. There's also been some studies that have more data about this. For instance, the elimination of money bail increased recidivism for people charged with nonviolent felonies, with recent criminal history, and with a recent violent felony arrest. And while it decreased recidivism for people charged with misdemeanors and people with no recent criminal history. So there was a noted difference in how bail reform worked when it comes to recidivism. And by the way, this is a study that was done by John Jay College, their Data Collaborative for Justice. And keep in mind, this is not some right-wing organization. These are the very people who have been pushing for criminal justice reform. And so they're studying what the impact of bail reform in New York has been. And they found that it has increased recidivism for certain people. The reduced use of bail for legally eligible cases tended to increase recidivism among people charged with violent felonies and people with a recent arrest. The starkest and most consistent recidivism increases across both research designs were among people with a recent prior violent felony arrest and among people currently charged with violent felonies who had a recent criminal history. And so the same study, by the way, found that 67% of defendants who had a recent prior felony arrest in the past year and then were released with no cash bail were rearrested within 2 years of their arraignment. Almost half, 49%, were rearrested for a felony. And I should note again that this is data that's been collected by a group of people who absolutely love the bail reform and love the criminal justice reform. It's just that they're doing their due diligence in keeping track of how it's actually played out for New York.
Because they didn't go about this in a common sense way. Misdemeanors, non-violent crimes, I definitely can understand someone signing off or having a signature bind and getting out of jail. I definitely agree with that. But if anyone or someone was arrested on a violent crime, those people should at minimum be held on some form of bond. And depending on the, class of the felony, they should be held with no bond. This is just insanity, what's going on up there. Who said or who thought that this was a great idea? And now that you have the data, this has been going on now for a couple of years now. Y'all have the data. Where is the lawmakers in the city of New York, in the state of New York, saying, you know what, let's sit down and let's revamp this bail reform situation. Let's sit down and make it make sense so it's a safe situation for everyone, for the citizens of the city and the state, as well as it's fair for the criminals. If you do something violent, you're getting a cash bond or no bond. If you get caught on something that's non-violent, we can give you a signature bond. But the next time you get caught on something else, it's got to be a cash or a no bond situation. Like, I mean, I'm not a lawyer and I don't claim to have a law background, but I do have common sense. And you would think that after a certain time, we have enough data that we can look at this and say, okay, we need to fix some things. Let's make some adjustments. That's just common sense.
A lot of mainstream media don't give you honest news. We do. You know why? Because of you. Paid membership on YouTube makes into account. They can are and irrational our politics and our government is. Okay, so number one, in New York, and this needs to be fixed immediately, and this is not about any reform that happened recently. The judges cannot take the violence of the crime into account. They can only take into account whether the person is going to flee or not. But that makes no sense. So, okay, well, I don't think that serial killer is going to flee. He really likes, Rochester. Okay, so he's gonna stay put, so I'm gonna let him go back home. What? So in New York law, there's to be fair, serial killers is an exception actually, because there's only a couple of super extreme crimes where they could take that into account. But other than that, you commit a very violent crime and the judge is not allowed to consider it when he's looking at whether to give you bail or not.
Can I give you an example? Yeah. Actually, it's an extreme example that Joy Behar confronted Governor Hochul about, and it's in this next clip. Let's watch that real quick and I'll fill in the blanks.
The CEO of the MTA says that 1% of subway suspects are responsible for more than 20% of the crime because of New York's bail reform laws, which allows them to go back out there and commit more crimes. But there was just a crime on Long Island where body parts were found all over Long Island. They had 4 suspects. They let them go, and now they're out there still. So what is the deal here? It sounds insane to me.
Though the crime that was brought was not what was bail eligible. Yes, murder is. Yes, conspiracy to commit murder is. Yes, assault is bail eligible. All those are. I know that the DA is working really hard with the Suffolk County Police Department to build the case they need to bring the charges that are necessary. The charges he brought, he did not have enough evidence at time to hold them.
You can't hold them?
Not on the charges he brought. But those are low-level charges. They really weren't. And we can work to make those bail eligible in the next session.
Dismembering a corpse and hiding a corpse after dismembering it, not bail eligible, not a serious crime. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like when Joy Behar outlined that case, I was like, she's crazy. This isn't a thing. This isn't real. This isn't real. So I looked it up. It's real, guys. It's real. Listen, if being on the left means supporting this, then I'm not on the left, and I'm okay with that. So let me give you the details of the case.
It doesn't mean that.
Okay, I don't know. Let me give you the details.
On the left. We're all on the left. We don't want people dismembering folks getting released. Only a couple of lunatic.
Some people do. And again, the left is the party of death and destruction. They want the chaos. They want this. Matter of fact, did you see Kathy Holcomb? Did you see her face? She didn't grimace. She just kept a straight stone face. They don't care. They do not care about regular people.
Some do.
I know. What I was in the middle of saying is only a couple of lunatic activists are like, yeah, we're pro dismemberment guys being let go. Okay, whatever. You don't represent the left at all.
Dismembered bodies. It's so unfair to put them in prison. Okay, let me give you the details of the actual case, okay? So 4 people were arrested in New York after body parts were found in Long Island. Okay, dismembered body parts. The victims were, 2 people from Yonkers, older individuals. Suffolk County Police say 44-year-old Stephen Brown, 38-year-old Jeffrey Mackey, 40-year-old Amanda Wallace, and 33-year-old Alexis Neves were charged with concealment of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and hindering prosecution. They have not been charged with murder. Prosecutors told a judge there was so much blood in the pipes, sink, shower, and toilet of the Railroad Avenue home in Amityville where the suspects were arrested that it was deemed uninhabitable. Police said they confiscated meat cleavers, butcher knives, flesh, and body parts. Attorneys for Brown and Mackey admitted that their clients lived in that home where the body parts and all that blood was found, but denied chopping up the 59-year-old woman and 53-year-old man whose last known address was in Yonkers. Wallace also lived with Brown and Mackey in Amityville. Police said that Knives is homeless. Okay, all 4 pleaded not guilty. The judge released them without bail. They were fitted with GPS monitoring and must report in-person probation and surrender their passports.
I don't care about their passports.
Dude, guys, like what? Okay, so did further research because I just couldn't believe it. Here's more. With 2019 state reforms, mutilation and disposal of murdered corpses are among crimes that are no longer bail eligible. The DA said the 4 went to barbaric lengths to cover the crime. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing, Cenk? What are we doing? What are we doing? Someone tell me, what the F are we doing?
Yeah, look, no one signed up for this. I don't know how the hell any of these laws passed.
Y'all signed up for it, and it's your party. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it. Democrats are the party of death and destruction. They want chaos. They feed off of it. With chaos, they can seize power. They're all about it. Anna's basically having a freaking meltdown because she's like, who is the party? What party am I a part of? Who are these people? But yeah, you're definitely a part of it. You guys are a part of the problem, been part of the problem for a very long time.
Went to every progressive conference there was over the last 20 years. I never heard a single person saying, why don't we let the actual criminals go? Hey, if someone butchers someone and chops them up into little pieces, let's do the kind of criminal justice reform where they would be able to walk out free.
Yeah, come at me right now and tell me I'm the bad guy because I want these people who dismembered corpses and tried to conceal the evidence in prison. Come at me and tell me I'm the bad guy. Come at me.
Look, guys.
Insane, you guys are insane. Anyone who thinks this is okay is insane. And everyone else in New York has to suffer the consequences of this with random bag checks at the subway by National Guard troops.
At a time where we have the right wing, which has lost its mind, you're taking good.
Don't try to bring the right in this. The right aren't for these crazy bail reform policies. Are you serious?
People that would normally be on the left and driving them to the right wing with this madness. And no one agreed to it. I don't mean the voters, I mean on the left. When did we have a vote? When did we decide in a primary or a ballot measure that we should do any of this? I never once heard it at any progressive get together, any progressive, no one has ever proposed this. All of a sudden in 2019, these activists popped up in all these cities and they're like, okay, you know what, like.
How did they succeed? I wanna know.
They got massive funding.
How
where the hell did the money come from?
Y'all know where the money came from. Y'all know where the money came from. Y'all know who's funding these people. We know who's funding the Letitia James and Alvin Braggs of the world. We know who's funding these folks. These are the people that want to see the destruction of America. And you guys have been the party of that. You guys have supported the party of that. And now the chickens have come home to roost. It is unfortunate what happened to those good people up there. And these people are out. They should be locked up right now. But these are the policies of the left. They're all about it. They're about death and destruction. They are a bloodthirsty party. They have not changed. This is who they are. They will do anything to seize power. Anything. Let me know what you guys think. Anna is losing it. She basically has said, I am no longer on the left. If this is what they're doing, I don't want any parts of it, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. Maybe she'll go independent. Maybe she'll abstain from voting or something. I don't know what will happen. But Chink's trying to talk her off the daggone ledge. Like, wait, you're messing our money up. We can't tell folks that we're no longer on the left because now you can mess our bag up. But it's insanity. What's going on? And look at all the different cities and states around the country that have just let people go. You got stores closing all throughout Oregon and California because the theft and, the robberies are just off the charts. Every liberal city around the country are some of the most unsafe places in the country. Every last one of them. You name a city that's led by a Democrat, and it is not a safe sound. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. It is crazy out here. You must stay prayed up. Stay in your word. Keep God first in your life. America first. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Peace.